Shalom, everybody. Rabbi Edelstein here with another installment of Rabbi E in 3, brought to you by MEOR, Washington, D.C. Our website, same as last week, MEORDC.com, or find us on Facebook, MEOR DC, and learn about all of our programs. Okay, I'm talking fast. I got 3 minutes to tell you about a double Torah portion, Tazria-Metzora, in the book of Leviticus, Vayikra. But the first portion, Tazria, is what we'll focus on. They're related, and it's very strange. You start to read this Torah portion, and you think you're in medical school reading the section on dermatology in the medical textbook, because it talks about a skin condition, negetzara'as in Hebrew, mistranslated early on in some translations as leprosy. It has nothing to do with leprosy, but a skin discoloration. And then it also talks about a discoloration possibly on clothing or on the house, and a whole procedure where you don't go to a doctor, you go to the Cohen. Not Dr. Cohen, but the Cohen, the descendants of Aaron who worked in the temple or the tabernacle. And they're the ones who are going to examine this discoloration and decide if it is truly something called negetzara'as, and if it is this malady, then there's a purification process. Actually, the person is isolated, sent out of the city limits or out of the gates of the city for a week. The person is spiritually impure, has to go through an elaborate purification process described in the second portion, Metzora. What is this? You know, the Torah is not a medical compendium. And if it was a medical condition, you'd send him to Dr. Cohen, not to the Cohen. What's going on here? So the oral tradition explains that this thing called negetzara'as was a physical expression of a spiritual malady. It was sent by Hashem onto the skin of a Jewish person who lived in the temple times. It does not occur now. If you have a white spot on your skin now, or go to Dr. Cohen. Or if you have a white spot in your house, call, you know, whatever it is, the mold removal man. But in the days of the temple or the tabernacle, God would send this to a person who was displaying certain kinds of antisocial behavior, especially lashon hara, slanderous, gossip, negative speech about your fellow Jewish person for no constructive reason. When it's true, not when it's false. True speech that's negative for no constructive reason, that's lashon hara. And it was actually kind of a spiritual report card in those days. God would send you this malady to get your act together, and you'd be isolated. That was one of in the process of purification, you have to be isolated because you've caused division between the Jewish people. There's no greater divider than negative speech, or that's one of the great dividers. So you're divided from human beings while you purify yourself and go through other steps of the purification process. This period of time between Passover and Shavuos, I mentioned last week, is when we're supposed to purify ourselves, especially our interpersonal relations. So lashon hara, negative speech, is one of the worst things in the world. It's that we do that damages our relationship to our fellow man and between the Jewish people. Our speech was given to us to give life, to uplift people, to enlighten people. And lashon hara is looked on so horrifically because it does the opposite. It divides and damages and destroys. I'm over 3 minutes. That's very bad. I hope I've used my speech to enlighten and uplift you. Let's try to do that so we don't get spiritual negetzara'as and the horrible transgression and divider of lashon hara, of hurtful speech. Use your speech to lift up people. Have a great Shabbos. And thanks for bearing with me for extra time tonight.